Welcome back. Today, I'm going to show you how I do this to my chainsaw bars. It's a simple powder coating process, and then we take it over to Adams and have it laser engraved on the lettering there. A lot of you guys have not seen my new MS-261 here. Got that for cutting up some smaller logs and things like that. This is a tried and true 462 that I've had for a while now. Today's video, I'm going to show you how I do that. And I've got a couple chainsaw bars here. I've got Adam here, and we're going to be stripping these bars, and we're going to actually try an orange on one of his bars. And Adam, what color did you decide on which length bar you wanted?
Let's try to see if we could do one bar with the steel orange. That way, if I'm looking at a distance or something, I can tell the difference between the 24-inch bar and the 20-inch bar without having to get out the tape measure. I thought we'd try one of each and see how they turn out. I think that steel orange is going to look pretty cool on that bar.
I got some powder coat powder here, and I got it from Prismatic Powders, and that is the number that they gave me. I didn't have a color swatch or anything like that to check the color for this orange. Now, this particular color, the steel gray that matches, I've done some homework on this and found that that's what it was. But when I called and talked to Prismatic Powders, the lady said, let me look at my database there and see what people have come up with and what they've used for powder. So I got this powder, and Adam said, go with it.
Good enough. It's going to make it pop a little bit more on camera, which as a YouTuber, that's good.
We're going to go ahead and strip that. We're going to do one of these in orange and one of them in the steel gray. I know I've had several people ask me about this, but I can only powder coat this in one color. I have to strip it down. I powder coat it in either the orange or the gray. And then when he does his lasering on the lettering of this, it is the color of what the laser leaves. I could put just about any color on the bar, but it has to be a black lettering. I believe steel here, when they come from the factory, I believe this is a painted on finish. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's painted. And then I think they stencil or paint on the lettering as well. They could do different colors on that because they painted on. I have to strip the blade so I can get rid of the lettering. And that's really the only reason I do that is sandblast that blade so it removes the steel lettering on there. And then I have to go back and repowder the bar the same color and then go back and laser engrave it.
And you said theoretically the powder coating should outlast whatever kind of paint actually comes on there directly from steel, right?
It should, yeah. Now I've had my big bar here, and you can see it's chipped off a little bit at the bottom, just the same way that the paint does. Now this is a new one here. Hasn't been run yet, but this one I've had for a year now. Not a tremendous amount of cutting on it, but it does on occasion. It will chip on that bottom edge. But
the best way to prevent that is really making sure that your chain is sharp, because as soon as your chain gets dull and you try to keep cutting with it, it starts to get hot and heats up that bar, and it's going to take off whatever finish you put on there.
Yep, you're gonna have your normal wear and tear where you come into logs and it just wears it away. But powder coating is about 10 times more durable than a painted coating, so it won't wear off as bad. Now you can see Adam's bar here. It's already started wearing at the bottom edge, and again, that's due to heat. Let's hop into the process of getting these things taken care of. All right, so one downside to doing a bar that wasn't brand new is that they've got the bar oil all through the groove in here, down around this little sprocket, down in this area. That's all got to be cleaned out really well. When I did mine, those were brand new bars that I bought for the saw prior to them ever being used. They were a longer bar. Like the 462 came with a 20-inch, and I put the 25-inch on. And the 261 came with a 16-inch, and I put a 20-inch on it. So those bars, when I bought them, were brand new, didn't have oil run through them. So we're going to go through here and clean these. And I'm just going to use either an acetone or a lacquer thinner to get it down in and brush it into these grooves here. What I'm doing is I'm cleaning this end off really good so I can put some high heat powder coating tape. But I want to tape this off because I don't want to get powder down into the oiler holes on these. I don't want to get them into the adjustment holes, and I don't want it into the bolt holes of that either. Tape off the very end, leave the factory paint on there, and then I've got to take and run tape down around the whole outer edge of this bar to cover up that guide because I don't want powder getting into there and down into the sprocket or the other side of that. And then when I get done, I've got to just make sure I get the sand back out of there so the sprockets spin freely. This is paint on here is because you can't sandblast off powder coating like you can paint. This comes right off. If it was powder coating, I would be doing this for a day to try and get this blasted off of here. Got both bars stripped, both sandblasted down, and I like to use a isopropyl alcohol, 91%. Put it on a clean rag, wipe them down. I've got to preheat them in the oven because what that preheat does is it burns off any fingerprints, any oils, or any impurities that might be in that. Preheat them, pull them out, let them cool down, and then go ahead and hang each one individually. Spray with the colors. Now I'm going to do my my white. I call it white, but it's a light gray on the bar there. Spray that first on the first bar. Then I'll switch over to the orange because it's a lot easier to go from a much lighter color to a darker or a more pronounced color. And that way you don't have to worry about getting any impurities from this into this. This will mask it. This will not mask the orange. So that's why you do light colors first. We're going to go ahead and do those. Get this thing wiped down. And I also got to make sure that when I do these, I could put a piece of copper in here to make sure I've got continuity when I have it hooked up here so the electric will flow through to the bar to create that static to adhere the powder to. Hopefully you can see this green tape, the high heat tape. It's a 1/4 inch wide that I cover that bar, the slot with on the chain groove. I've got an open hole here, which will be where I put my copper terminal inside of that to create the electrical continuity on that. There's my piece of copper I run through there so I can have that touching the metal inside of that. And then I use my voltmeter to test it here. So we'll go ahead and just check for continuity, listen for the audible. So that tells me that I've got good continuity from there to there. When I put my alligator clip onto that, it will create the electrical current I need. I'm going to be turning on my exhaust fan. For some of you guys that are new to my channel, I built this little powder coat spray paint booth a couple years back. I did a video, I think it was actually my very first video that I did, where we showed the whole thing with this. And then I've got on the wall over here, I've got a Harbor Freight blower dust collector type of motor on there that it pulls the vent out of the back of the cabinet and blows it out the side window there. So we'll go ahead and get this bottle filled up with powder and start getting this sprayed up. This little button here is what you do. You activate this when you're spraying it, and that's what creates the electrical charge. that is basically all there is to doing powder coat. The most tedious part is the prep for everything. The stripping, the cleaning, the blasting, the pre-baking to make sure that nothing in there is going to bake out into your powder. And then it's just a simple spray it on. You can't bump that because it's like baby powder on your skin. It's just stuck there just enough so you can get it in and melt it onto the steel in the oven. This particular powder here requires 350 degree steel temperature for 15 minutes. So once the steel temperature reaches 350 degrees, then it's got to bake out for 15 minutes. As soon as that 15 minutes is done, you pull it out of the oven and let it cool down. And at that point, it is ready to go. Unlike paint where you need to let it dry for 12, 24, or 48 hours for it to get its full cure. As soon as that cools down out of the oven, it is fully cured. So we're ready to put that one in the oven and go ahead and we'll do the orange one after that. And there we go. As long as that stays up there, which it should, just need to let it get to the temperature and bake it out. All right, so once you fill this up, and I never fill them completely full, and then you just take a powder coat gun, and this is an Eastwood powder coat gun. Screw the bottle on, and you can see it's got a pickup tube on this side, blows air into the bottle, circulates that air and fluffs the powder up in the bottle, and then blows it out the tube through the end point, and then you've got your diode or your electrical charge on the end there. That's what that is. That's what makes that big spark when you get too close to the other piece of it. And this is just a dispersion nozzle, and this is a piece of PVC I put on there to kind of help govern the spray pattern a little bit better. You put that on, and I just slide that up, turn that on there, and now it's ready to go. Timer just went off, it's done. And I spoke earlier about having to be careful putting it in. And after it cools, it has then cured. But now that this is still at 350 degrees, it would be very easy to take and scratch into that soft coating that's on there. So I've got to be real careful doing this as well, getting it out of here. Now all I need to do is inspect it, which it wouldn't really matter because if there's something wrong with it, I can't do anything to it right now. I would have to strip the entire piece, but it actually looks like it turned out pretty good. We'll let her cool down, pull this tape all off of it, get the bar cleaned out, get the track cleaned out, get the sprocket cleaned out, then take it over to Adams and put it on his laser and let him put his magic on it. I have a feeling this thing's going to stand out pretty good.
Looks like a Cheeto.
Yeah, and if you put your fingers on it, it'll do the same thing. And if anybody's wondering, yes, you can put this on too thick. You can put it on too thick where it will literally start running once it starts melting that plastic. Powder coating, powder is a plastic. All right, so now's the fun part. picking this thing up and getting it set down into the oven there and not having it bang anything and not burning my fingers when I do it. Here's where you don't want to drop it after you bumped your knuckle on something really hot. Ouch, just like that. That's about as good as I can get, and I can no way get anything longer than a 25-inch bar in this oven. So it has its limitations of what length bars I can do. All right, so that 1/4-inch tape that I had on the side, and you can see why I did that. It keeps that paint out of the center groove for the chain. And then where I can't get it tight down here around the sprocket, I just take a sharp knife and clean that out real nice. So it is a little bit darker than when we put it on, and a lot of powders will do that. They'll change color from what their original powder form is to when it's melted and done. So this is a little bit darker looking, so I guess it won't be too obnoxiously bright, but we'll stand it up next to one of the saws here before long and see what it looks like. One of the downfalls to doing this, and you saw I put the tape all the way down and around, but what happens is it gets the teeth here, and I've got to go in there and scrape that off with a little X-Acto knife and then around the tip. I haven't found any good way of something that will go around this and seal down into each groove to cover the teeth and the side. So there's a lot of labor involved in just this last little tip down at the end to getting these cleaned off and getting that extra powder out of there. Haven't come up with a good way to do it yet. We're back over here at Adam's now, and he's going to be putting these on his laser there. And he's literally designing this on his phone. Fresh out of the laser engraver, and getting ready to go ahead and throw it on the bar here. Now that will be covered or hidden with the cover plate here, so let's get this thing on, get a chain on it, see how it looks. All right, well, we got his bar on, chains on, got the other bars back over on mine are all done now. I guess this is one of those things that I like to customize things. I like to make them my own. And I said to Adam, I said, hey, let's get some powder coat and do your bars. And he said, what about orange? And I went, I don't know about that. But as you can see, stands out pretty well here. So I'm not sure if this is something that Adam and I are going to be offering, but I know he's going to be doing a video about it and talking about some of the laser engraving he's done, as well as laser engraved these bars here. So it's something we're toying around with. I'll leave that up to him to make that decision, but I guess let me know. Would you guys ever do something to customize your chainsaw bar or something like that? Are you into customizing things? Don't forget, give me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you again on the next one. Thanks.